Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And on today's episode, I have a beautiful story for you here today of a woman who left a dude to quote unquote find herself. Now she's, hit over the age of 40. She's alone and she regrets everything. This is a story that is incredibly common, guys. You'll have women who leave their boyfriends, leave their husbands, especially as they get up there in age, and they think that life is going to be greener on the other side, okay? Whether that be because they have another man lined up, which is usually the case, or because they think that sleeping with a bunch of dudes and returning to the streets will be the best thing to ever happen to them. Whatever the case may be, usually they end up alone, they end up crying, and they end up with a few cats. Now, people will say, oh, Taylor, that's propaganda, right? You're trying to put fear into these women so that they have relationships with men. Trust me when I say that the women who want to go to the streets, I would much prefer that they be there, okay? You want to go leave your husband, you're the type of party girl who wants to hook up with a bunch of dudes, that's totally cool with me. You shouldn't be married in the first place. Please go out there in the cold, stay out there in the cold. So let's jump into this story here. It is titled, My Ex Left Me at 37 to Find Herself. Now she's 41, alone and regretful. So we all know what find herself really means. So this happens to this dude about 5 years ago, he says, and lately he's been reflecting on it more than usual. I, now a 42-year-old male, was married to my ex-wife for almost 11 years. We met in our mid-20s, got married at 29, and spent our early 30s building what I thought was a solid life together. We both worked decent jobs. I'm in project management, she was in HR, lived in a modest but nice home, took holidays, talked about having kids, quote-unquote, soon, more than once. Okay, so here's the first red flag, all right? People will kind of roast me for this, but let me just say this. If a woman is only considering having kids at 29, right? So she's 29 years of age, and now she's talking about potentially having a family. Usually when women do this, it's not because they actually have a desire really to be a mother. It's just that they're running out of time. Okay, like if you have a girl who realistically has her first and only maybe child at 31 years of age, it really begs the question, what have you been doing? So they met mid-20s. This woman probably had a bunch of boyfriends before then, thought that maybe she could return to the party life. I mean, this woman essentially got to 30 before deciding, hey, maybe I want to have kids now. You really don't have that long left, particularly as a woman. 35, considered a geriatric pregnancy. A lot of these women like to push it as far back as they possibly can because they want to have that party girl life for as long as they possibly can. Let's continue here. We never had kids, partly because she always said not yet or let's wait a little longer. I didn't push too hard, figured when she was ready we'd go for it, and that ready never came. Yeah, because what you essentially have here is you have a party girl on your hands. She said that she'd outgrown me. At around age 36, I started noticing a shift. She was distant, disinterested, more critical of small things. I thought maybe it was work stress or whatever. But I tried to meet her halfway. I helped her around the house, planned little things to show I cared, and then one night she just said it. I think I need to be alone for a while. I feel like I've outgrown our relationship. Outgrown, he says, like a jacket. Like I was a jacket that didn't fit anymore. She told me I was quote-unquote a good man, but she wanted to see what else was out there before it's too late. That is a brutal thing to hear from your life, by the way. You know what's really sad? It's kind of gotten to the point in society right now, guys, where if women call you a good man, it's almost like an insult. It's like, yeah, you're a good man. Here's a pat on the head. You're that stable guy. You're really good. You're a great, fantastic guy. Any woman would be lucky to have you, but just not me, is what is usually tacked on the end there. Okay, invisible as it were. But they say that you're a good man, you're a great man, you're a nice man, all of these sorts of things. But realistically, the women aren't attracted to the men that they give those sorts of adjectives to. And it's really, really funny because again, these women will turn around once they can't have kids anymore, once Chad doesn't want to deal with them anymore or pay for their bills, once she can't get the same attention she used to. then she goes back to looking for these quote unquote good men, right? And that's not to say you shouldn't be a good man, you shouldn't be a good person. Obviously, being a good person is ideal. But if you're trying to be a good man for women, let me just say that good men, you know, by its own standard, is the first thing that gets used by women. You know, these are the types of men that get used by women actively. Let's continue. Within a month, she moved out. I suspected somebody else was in the picture. There was, by the way, I guarantee it. Some guy she met at work or the gym, maybe. I never got confirmation and honestly didn't have the energy to go digging. If she wanted out, I wasn't going to trap her. Good stuff. It's good to see a dude not do all like this digging after the fact and like waste his time and effort and all of that. I think it's fantastic. If she wants to go, just let her go. Great stuff. The divorce was not dramatic. It was just cold, businesslike. She took a bigger share than I thought was fair, but I didn't fight it. I kept the house and she got her quote unquote freedom. Okay, so she took a lot of money on the way out, it seems. He got the house. Maybe they were a bit more well off. I can't recall all the things that they had earlier on in the story, but he kept the house, which is good. But she took a lot of their finances, it seems, which perhaps outweighed the price of the house that they lived in. She got a big damn share for leaving. That's just always fantastic, isn't it, guys? That women can leave your life and take more than they came in with. Great stuff. Really incentivizing the family unit right there. Great job, government. Fantastic. He says the first year was rough. I questioned everything. I wondered if I'd wasted a decade of my life, wondered if I'd ever start over, but slowly things changed. I started working out again. I took a trip to Japan solo. I don't know why, like, dudes stop working out when they get a wife or a girlfriend, by the way. You know, like, I never understood this. Like, people will just stop working out. Like, this, I don't know. Just stopping working out is very strange to me. Were you even somebody who is interested in fitness in the first place and taking care of yourself? Like, one day you just decided to stop going? I don't really think it's something that you stop if you were taking to any degree seriously in the first place. Nevertheless, he starts working out again, which is good. He took a trip to Japan solo, reconnected with friends he hadn't seen in years. He eventually started dating. About a year ago, he met someone new, smart, kind, funny, actually wants to build a future, including kids. Here's the danger, by the way. So how old is this dude now? What is he, 30, 42? So he's 42, right? And he wanted to have kids, clearly. The ex-wife didn't want to have kids. Here's the problem, is if you're a 42-year-old guy and you're typically going to be dating somebody who's younger than you, people will say, oh, that's creepy, but fail to realize that women select men older than them. Anyway, that's a discussion for another time. Like, let's just say you're dating like a 32-year-old and she really wants to have kids. The problem is, of course she really wants to have kids because her biological clock is running out. Okay, you might be her last choice. And this is the rough thing as a dude, guys, is women will wait, you know, they'll screw around with bad boys from like 20 to 30, and then now they want to have kids and a family. And the problem with that is usually, in a lot of these cases, the women just want to have the kids, they want to get the security, and then they end up bouncing and ditching you. Like, yes, she wants to build a future with you, including kids. Of course she does, because she's running out of time to do so. This is what gets men used by women, by the way. It's very, very scary stuff. He says, I don't keep close tabs on my ex, but we share mutual friends and occasionally hear updates. She's 41 now, still single, still no kids, still working the same job. From what I hear, the exciting guy she briefly left me for flamed out after a few months. Classic. A friend told me that she admitted recently that she regrets leaving me, said I would have been a great dad and that she thought there'd be more out there. What a kick in the face this is, man. Thought there'd be more out there. Yeah, so she thought, here's what she thought. She had a guy on the sidelines who was giving her attention. She probably cheated with him. And she's like, okay, I'm going to leave my husband for this man. And so she does that. Things don't work out because, of course, he doesn't want a relationship. But in her head, she's like, oh, it's fine. There will be other men who will be interested in me, right? I'm like around 40 years of age. I've still got a lot to offer. But the problem is the men that she wants, of course, don't want her. And now the door has been shut to her ex-husband, even though she wants to return and she regrets everything. So she thought that there would be more out there. He says, I just feel sad that she couldn't appreciate what she had when it mattered. And I feel sad for myself for the time and the love I gave to someone who saw me as a phase instead of a partner. But mostly I feel grateful that I didn't stay stuck, that I let go, and that I healed, right? So this is all things considered a good ending, right? It could have been a lot worse. They could have had kids and she could have tried to take the kids. He managed to keep the house, which is good. Sounds like he lost a lot more though. I don't know how much they had, but all in all, not a bad story here. So the wife walks away. She thought she was going to have the time of her life. Nobody wanted her. Now she's crying. 41 years of age, alone, single, no kids. Fantastic. I'm assuming she has already started collecting the cats. If she hasn't, probably now is a good time to start because she is going to need a few of them. Guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. If you have seen anything similar happen, make sure you drop it down below. I always think this crap is super funny. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.